Need documents translated? Istituto Mondo Italiano provides certified translation and interpretation services in 20 different languages. Be sure to visit us at www.istitutomondoitaliano.org. Okay, so we are ready for our next guest, and I would love to introduce Michela Musolino. Buonasera, Michela.
Buonasera, ciao Viviana, come stai?
Sto benissimo. I'm so honored to have you as well, because you've been representing Sicilian folk music and traditions. You have been doing this your entire life. I thought this was going to be just a very natural and segue to highlight the beauty of having a positive message and outlook to the beautiful region of Sicily. So for those of you, for our listeners that might hear about you for the first time, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about where when you started. I think I'm going to dig out some details about your childhood. So just a little bit of introduction about yourself for our listeners.
Okay. I am a singer, and I sing, known for singing the folk and roots music of Sicily. So you are right. I work with traditions, especially Sicilian traditions, and I love working with this music. I've worked with it for many years now, and I love to share this music and acquaint people with it. Not just Sicilians. It's wonderful to connect people to their culture, and it's wonderful to reawaken these things in them and connect them to this antiquity. But I like to bring this music also to the general public, because there's a lot that we all share, and it's a great way to unify people too. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful experience for me. And I take these songs, and some songs I leave them as I find them. I work a lot with field recordings and old fragments and songs. But sometimes I like to continue the journey. Folk music is actually something that's passed from one person to another in the tradition. And these songs would change with each person that would sing them or play them. So I like to maybe put a new spin on some of these songs, or maybe combine it with a different tradition. And I've done many different projects with it. I've combined it with, different world music traditions, different Italian music traditions, different traditions from different epochs. And like I said, sometimes I'll just take a song and I'll just leave it as is, because I think that's just the best way to do it. So.
Yes, and someone has kind of defined you as the wild soulfulness of Tina Turner with the earthy yet ethereal voice of Neapolitan songstress Teresa De Sio combined. And by listening to the many recordings that I've seen you, that is just on spot. It's right on. Now, you were born here in the U.S., but you grew up here in the Sicilian dialect. You actually had some sort of keen interest in picking up music every time you had access to, right? To have already a little bit of collection of things in Sicilian.
Of the dialect was the first sounds I ever heard. And my family loved Italian music. So when I would go back to Sicily with my dad, I'd try to find Sicilian music, and I was always trying to figure out where to find it. And at that time, I just didn't really know too much about it. I could buy some tapes and things. That's how long ago I started on this journey. I was buying cassette tapes. And through the years now, it's how life has changed. Through the years now that I make this music, I have a wonderful circle of friends all over the world, especially in Sicily, that are actually folk musicians. So I'm kind of now in the mix, as you say. I'm kind of like living it, which is nice. I don't have to dig so deeply anymore.
Mm-hmm. And also, there is a very unique stage presence, that you have, that you portray not only the energy of the music and your vocal cords. And when I was studying up a little bit, it looks like you have a strong background also as an actress, and specifically in Commedia dell'arte. That's fantastic.
Yes, yes. That's actually one of my most favorite things. I had the opportunity to study with two wonderful teachers from Rome, Lidia Biondi and Endo Romica. And it is a wonderful training. And if for anyone that wants to be a performer, I would always recommend to study commedia dell'arte because it is just such a seminal kind of training. It covers everything, whether you want to work with comedy or whether you want to work with drama. It's theater. It's the history of theater. So it's a beautiful, beautiful training.
And then you have played, numerous times in Sicily for very special events and concerts in commemoration of, in memoriam of Pino Veneziano.
Yes.
And so can you tell us, so if people are not familiar with Sicilian folk traditions, is there an instrument or is there a beat? Is there something that maybe you can share with us that can put us in that mode? Like, for instance, I don't know if you had it, but at least, tell us about what are the most common instruments that you see being played or being part of this Sicilian folk tradition. And then, I don't know if you want to hum something. We're ready for you.
Okay. Well, the most germane or the most important instrument would be the tamburo, the frame drum. And that is, it's an instrument that goes back to antiquity, and it was in the realm of the women, actually, when the women were I guess would conduct the religious rituals, and it sprung up through the centuries eventually as an instrument that's played. But when everybody made music, women drummed. And my grandma, when she immigrated to the U.S., the one thing she brought with her was the drum.
Oh, really?
And when I first started to study this music, and I started taking, started delving into it and taking lessons and working with theater companies, I was telling my dad, I went to go visit my dad, and I said, I'm learning how to play the frame drum. And he said, well, you should learn, because that's your tradition. That's what women do. And I didn't understand what he was saying until the more I studied it, I understood that, the women were guiding, were the first ones to drum, and they were guiding the religious aspect of the performance. And that's when, again, my dad eventually revealed that my grandma used to play. So what I'll do is a very famous rhythm on the drum would be the tarantella rhythm, the triplet. And what I can do is I can sing a little song and play the drum. I'll put my phone down and see how it works. I hope it sounds okay. I don't have an elaborate
it is still good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll try it. La facicina vesta da cita, la facicina vesta da cita, la facicina vesta da cita, tesoro e collondo innamorata, tesoro e collondo innamorata.
We just want to hear more of it. We are ready to dance along with you. Can you tell us a bit, maybe also the lines, the lyrics that you, I think I heard about something innamorata, but the Sicilian...
Yeah, it's, what I just played was this, a filastrocca. This is a children's, like a nursery rhyme, but it's like a sing song. And it's a little story. And it's, my sister, I made you a beautiful gown out of silk. I made you this beautiful dress out of silk. But my sister, she's just not in love with anybody. So we kind of made this gown for somebody to get married, but she's not in love with anybody.
She's not in love.
And the song goes on and on about different things like that. And at the end, the last line of the song is, I'm lovesick. Everybody thought I was not well, but it turns out I was just lovesick. And so it's all these little vignettes about falling in love. And that's one of the reasons why I love this music so much, is because there's all these nice little stories. Every song is a story, really, and it talks about these wonderful human emotions that we all experience and we all go through. So it's very relatable music. It's music that really reaches in and touches your soul.
In talking about touching your soul, some of the most memorable performances that maybe you got to be part of, whether it was maybe in Sicily or somewhere else in Italy or somewhere else where you brought indeed all this Sicilian tradition, either with other musicians, or maybe, I don't want to say you were the novelty, but something that maybe they hadn't heard of. Tell us about, again, a memorable concert or experience.
Wow. For me,
so many, right?
For me, is because you talked about Sicily. What I would have to say is going back and forth to the L'Evento in Memoria di Pino Veneziano, which is a cultural festival dedicated to the singers, the cantautore Pino Veneziano. It always takes place in the temples in Salimunte. And I kind of became identified with this song that Pino Veneziano wrote called Assanto, dedicated to Santo Graziano, who's a friend of Pino Veneziano, who is, and the gist of the song was that he's a man that is very loving. Santo is a blind man. He's very loving, and he knows the way. But even though he's blind, he can find the way. He knows the way in the world because the way is love. And it was a testament to the friendship of this wonderful person, Santo. And I had sung this song one year, and somebody took a video, and it became kind of went, but not that viral, but a little viral. And I eventually was invited to sing the song on a compilation album in honor of Pino Veneziano, and I sang that song for many years. And I was finally, one year, I went back to Sicily, and I gave a concert in the Castello Normanno a Salerno, and the actual Santo Graziano, the person that the song was written about, he brought his family, brought his wife and his children to the concert, and I got to sing this song finally for him, and that was very emotional.
I can imagine having the honor. And you have moved quite a bit. You also were in Vermont for a few years, and so you narrated and sang in Sicilian and Southern Italian folk music, and you told the history about the Briganti of Southern Italy.
Wow, how'd you find that? You did some digging. Yes, I have a beautiful show. It's and it's dedicated to the Briganti, and who were the freedom fighters of Southern Italy after the unification. They fought for the king. They fought to remain Southern Italian. And what I do is I tell their story, I narrate their story, but I illustrate every point in the story with a folk song. And some of the songs are traditional, some of the songs are contemporary. So it's a little theatrical piece, and I haven't done it in a while, and I would love to have the chance to do it again because it's a very moving piece, and it is a tribute to these freedom fighters.
Maybe we'll talk about it afterwards. And so okay. Some of the project that you've been, obviously the last years, a lot of people were able to still share their art and their craft online. Was that the case for you as well?
Yeah, we didn't really have much of a choice, so we started doing things online, and I'm always a big fan of, blossom where you're planted. So I was doing concerts in my backyard, and then some venues that we had performed at in the past would ask us, could you do an online show for us? And most recently, the Queens Public Library in New York is still, even though they're back to live programming, they found that they like to have the online, so they're doing both. So I've been doing some shows for them, and I actually just did a spring concert. It was the day before Easter, because I moved to Memphis recently. So now I have a band here in Memphis as well. I have my New York band. I have a band in Memphis. So it was another project, but it's always with this beloved Sicilian music or some kind of outgrowth, because what I'm doing now, too, is I'm showing the connection, the beautiful musical connection between Sicily and the U.S., so it's ever evolving.
And some of the instruments, in addition to having your group bagpipes.
We have a zampognato in the band, and that is a wonderful tradition because we have a tradition, the music from the mountains, from the montagne. The pastore were always they would play the bagpipes. It's another pastoral instrument, like the drum. These are instruments that people made to pass the time. And they've all come from the animal skin and the trees. So they're very, very organic and very natural.
One of the excuse me. One of the latest videos that I was watching YouTube was actually a collaboration with the Sicilian DJ Raf. That was a mix of talents there. It was so entertaining. Yeah. And so how was that experience?
It's wonderful because he takes his, take my song. Well, the one you might have seen, I think it might have been an Italian pop tune that we remixed. But we've done work with the song Mi Volto Mi Rivolto, and that was also up for Grammy consideration. And he's put like a house mix with it. He's got this amazing vision. He's from Sicily, he's from Palermo, and he's got this fantastic vision of exposing people to this folk music by modern means. And he's all about, disco music and house music and club music. So he recreates these songs. And we just actually were in New York City last week. We were filming a video for a new release that's coming out. And it's a beautiful, beautiful Sicilian folk song, a real Sicilian folk song, truly an old tradition. And it's been re-elaborated with a world music sound and an amazing group of musicians. So when that comes out, I'm going to send that to you. It's going to be really, really a nice surprise. And wait till you see the video.
Thank you.
Wait till you see the video.
So if people want to know about all your discography, all the information, your website has a wealth of information, and the pictures are so beautiful. So,
thank you.
From the dances and the music and the instruments. So, can you, because some of the titles, of the songs might be in Sicilian, I don't want to do any disfavor. So, do you want to talk a little more about the actual names and of the?
On the songs. Typically what I do is I just leave, as I said, I leave the songs as I find them. So, for example, we have, let's sing the song Palomedra. And Palomedra is a little dove, Paloma in Italian, Palomedra in Sicilian. There's a song, Olina Lina, which I love. It comes from, it's a Chaialoma, which is a Sicilian tuna fishermen's chant, that they would sing these songs when they needed to work in unison to raise the nets. So you can listen to Olina Lina. And the reason why I love that song is because it's the same name as my daughter. My daughter's name is Lina, so I love that song. But we have a song too, Avirinedda, and I even have a video about that. And Avirinedda, it's a love song, but the title of the song is Virinedda, which means drill, trapano in Italian, right? But Virinedda in dialect, in Sicilian dialect, and even though the song has these beautiful images in it, like the lover tells his beloved, when you smile, when you walk by, all the heavenly spheres smile, all the planets and stars smile. But at one point in the song, he says, I wish I could buy a drill so I could make a hole in your door, and at night I could watch you. So there's a lot of a lot of contrast in these songs too. But trying to think some other songs, we have Canto a Timoni, which is a song of the houseman, Timoni, Timoniere, no, in Italian, Timoni in dialect. When I perform, when I sing the songs, I'm kind of a bit of a storyteller too, because I set the songs up and I introduce a little bit of the stories behind the song and the history. So people get drawn in and they feel already familiar with the song if they don't know it yet.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So, talking about something else that I just remembered, you also lend your voice to a movie. This is a close story to the conversation we had before, because this was the life of the anti-mafia activist Felicia Bartolotta Impastato, who was Peppino's mother, and so you got to do also this experience. How was it?
Yes, it was truly a wonderful experience because all I did, the director of that film was a documentary, and the film is actually the last interview that Felicia gave in her lifetime. It was an interview with Felicia and Giovanni, her other son, who has continued the work of Peppino. And all I did was, the director asked me, can I use your music? I said, yeah, sure. So I had already recorded this music. But what happened was, because I was associated with the film, I toured with the film. And at one point in the tour, Giovanni Impastato was here in the U.S., and we did a series of conferences together, and I got to meet him and got to know him and know all about, learn about his work. So it's, as Dario had said, it's an honor to be part of this. It's an honor to be part of this battle. And it's a battle that is being won, and that's what's so wonderful about it. It's not an easy battle, but it is winnable. And it's so, I feel Sicily has given me so much. It felt like I was able to do something for Sicily. Going back to l'evento in memoria di Pino Veneziano in Salonite, in fact, one of the years, the edition of the festival was Manifestazione contro la mafia. So it was a tremendous amount of journalists, and there were even people there from the Centro Impastato to raise awareness. Like Dario had said, you have to talk about it. You have to put it in front of people and let them know what's going on. So anytime that I can help out this way, I'm honored to. I'm honored to do something for La Sicilia. It's always un dovere, It's
un dovere, exactly. We all have the duty. Well, Michela, this has been a pleasant conversation, and I thank you very much also for taking us a little bit into the sounds of the Sicilian folk music. We'll be posting links for people to follow you, listen to you, and as you close usually your emails, kusutse bed.
That's right.
I'm picking up. So thank you very much. And again, I will be in touch. I can't wait to for the CD.
Okay.
Bye-bye. So our time has already come up. Il Big Ben ha detto stop. And it's indeed time for us to say arrivederci e alla prossima. We want to thank you for listening. And if you have any questions or comments, please contact us at theitalianradiohour@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And next week, our guest will be Italian famous, the Queen of Tagliatelle, Rina Poletti, and author Antonella Iaschi from Emilia-Romagna. And I will discuss how pasta and poetry can build a better future for all of us. Remember, if you or any of your family and friends have missed a prior episode or would like to listen to this episode again, please visit our website at www.istitutomondoitaliano.org and click on the Italian Radio Hour tab. Vorremmo ringraziare i nostri ospiti Dario Riccobono e Michela Musolino, il nostro sponsor Istituto Mondo Italiano e alla Boara per la Musica. Finally, before we leave, here is our trivia question for next week. What does non c'è due senza tre mean? Again, what does non c'è due senza tre mean? You can send us your answers at the italianradiohour@gmail.com. If you're not in the Pittsburgh area or might be traveling, remember you can catch us streaming live at khbradio.com every Thursday at 5 o'clock. And be sure to like us on Instagram and Facebook at Italian Radio Hour. Until next time, alla prossima, ciao ciao!
Ci sta facendo caro fulador.
The Italian Radio Hour has been sponsored by Istituto Mondo Italiano.